It's the Geriatric Momma here. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Claire, I love you. How are you doing today, girl?
Oh, I love you too, Ashley. You know what? Fall is in the air.
Fall has blown in. There's like this gust of wind that I hear every year, and I'm like, that's fall.
Ooh,
it's
that's
here.
Right. Yes. How are you
so
doing,
poetic.
Ashley?
I'm doing great. So I am going to be 28 weeks in a couple days. So I'm coming up on 7 months, I know. And what's so crazy is that when we recorded these episodes, especially this one that we're going to hear today with my mom, I don't know, I think maybe I was a month pregnant. So no one knew except for Justin and our moms, and reality hadn't set in yet. So seeing this interview with my mom, it's so funny. It's so our relationship. You know, she's a total extrovert. I'm a total introvert, and we come together.
Yes. Oh my gosh, your dynamic is the best. I don't think people are ready.
You know, I wasn't ready at the time, but she gives some really great advice, tells some really cool stories about my dad who's no longer with us, and I don't know, it was just such a really great moment to share with my mom in the beginning of my pregnancy. So I'm excited to share it with everyone out there. I think you're really going to enjoy it. And it's really just going to give you some insights to how things have changed sort of generationally when it comes to becoming a mom and what pregnancy is like and what the world is like and how we handle it today. So I think we should just jump into it.
Let's do it.
Enjoy. Hey, everyone. Welcome to our show today. I am here with the guest of honor, my mommy, Letty D. Bailey, but you all call her Mrs. Bailey because that's just the way it goes. Thank you, Mommy, for being on the show today with me and Claire, the Geriatric Momma. So, as many of you know, one of the big reasons why we started the podcast, Claire and I, was because of my irrational fears of childbirth, being pregnant, labor, the whole thing. I was really jogging my memory and trying to figure out where that fear came from. And I think I came to the conclusion that it was my mommy.
Wrong conclusion.
So I'm going to ask you some questions. Do you remember when I don't know, I must have been around 7 or 8, and I asked you what childbirth was like and what the whole thing was like, because that means that you had Noah maybe 3 years before that. And do you remember what you said?
No, I'm sure I was very sensitive and, you know.
Yeah, sure.
Be all right. What did I say?
It's quite, like always.
I was so, honey, you'll be fine.
Well, what I love about our relationship is that I think even when I was young, you were always not brutally honest, but you were always honest about things when I asked you questions. So the one thing I remember specifically is you saying, well, I just know with your brother, I was ripped from here to Timbuktu.
But it won't happen to you, baby.
Sure. Well, do you have any positive memories of being pregnant and labor and childbirth, or did that hormone kick in where you just don't remember anything at this point?
No, I remember when we found out we were going to have a baby.
Mm-hmm. You talking about me or Noah? Let's talk about Noah.
Noah. Mm-hmm. We were going to have a second baby. And your dad said it has to be a boy. And I'm like, okay.
Thank God it was.
Wow. And you delivered on that really easily. Good job.
Now, technically, when you had Noah, you were 35. So it was a geriatric pregnancy. Had you ever heard that term? Or did your doctor use that term?
Until today. And I equate geriatrics with geritol.
Oh, so just old people stuff.
Old people pregnancy. Okay, thank you.
Well, that is the medical term that doctors use. Geriatric pregnancy is a woman at the age of 35 and older who gets pregnant. And it's just like, at that point in your life, you're considered a geriatric.
You know, girl, gotta have a baby. But that's okay. But the thing that was so cool about being pregnant was when you first felt that little wiggle.
Little kick.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's like, there's something in there. And we were both new. Dad and I were both new. Well, second one.
Yeah.
So still it was
It still felt exciting.
It was exciting. And then you're day to day.
Just ease into it.
Yeah, you just let it happen from day to day. Some days I look at him like,
ooh, Daddy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, look at you. No, look at you. And then, we were still.
Well, you had it, you were, but you still kind of had it down at that point. Did the first pregnancy feel different than the second one because you were now in this geriatric category? Hey, we're embracing it because the whole show is that even if you are a woman 35 years and older, you can still have a healthy, happy pregnancy.
Yeah.
So we're reclaiming it. We're making geriatric sexy.
Yeah, come on. Oh, now that makes me feel better. Okay. Well, the second one.
Yeah, did it feel different? Like even with like labor and child, from what you can remember, I think she's completely blocked it out.
No. The second one, I had a problem with because I remembered the first one.
So the hormone didn't kick in?
No.
Were you a little nervous?
I knew it was coming.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when it's a surprise, you're like,
yeah.
But when you know, it takes on a whole different dimension.
So there was a little bit more anxiety with it.
And there was some fear. And there was some taking advantage of Daddy because he was, go get me a hamburger. I really needed a cheeseburger.
Yeah, she had to have it.
I had to have a McDonald's Big Mac.
This is our second time talking about, I think, McDonald's on our show. I think
sponsor McDonald's.
Yeah, I think one day when I get pregnant in the future, hopefully not too far in the future, but I'm worried that McDonald's is going to be my go-to. Didn't you send Daddy out and the McDonald's was closed?
Yeah, I said, well, I really do need a Big Mac. I just. He went out and went to McDonald's, and he went in there, and they were closing the place, and they had cleaned the grill. He goes, listen, I got a pregnant wife at home. I cannot come back without a Big Mac. You don't understand. You don't want me to go back without a Big Mac. Well, that rhymes. That's kind of cool. And they cleaned the grill, and they said, oh, yeah. Okay.
Somebody understood
because he came back with a Big Mac.
Hot off the grill.
It was good. It was fresh.
Yeah.
So do you feel like your pregnancy and labor, was it physically different because you were a little bit older, or do you feel like that kind of was the same?
It was the same.
Your mind was different.
My mind, because I knew what was coming. And so I kind of
did it help you know what was coming, or was it kind of a hindrance in a way?
For me it was a hindrance because I knew it wasn't going to be
roses, like that scene in Snow White with the butterflies and birdies.
The baby is here. No, I don't mean to cause it harm.
No, we want your honesty. It's all about sharing experiences.
No, really. The doctor told me, he said, you can't be like this all 9 months. He said, it's okay. I'm like, she's a man. How can you tell me it's going to be okay when I know the watermelon is coming?
So what was that like having a male OBGYN? Do you feel like he was able to relate? Do you feel like he just wasn't that connected to your experience?
No, I mean, he was experienced. He knew the right things to say, but he could never connect because he never pushed anything out before.
Would you suggest women try to find a woman OBGYN?
I would. Because, I mean, he can only go by his years of experience on this side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But he had no idea, except for what he read in books and what his wife went through. He had no idea what was. He couldn't have handled it.
Yeah.
Men could not handle that.
I think I was about 4.5 when Noah was born. So there's certain things I remember about that pregnancy. One, I remember you got this terrible body rash or something.
Oh, I did. He just messed me up.
And I remember, I feel so bad about it now, but I remember me and Daddy like following you around the house, teasing you about it.
And you were sitting on the couch and you said, Daddy, look at her. And he said, mm-hmm. And I'm like, and I'm all swollen and he go, Daddy, she don't look good. No, she don't. And I'm like,
oh no! I hope that karma is not headed back to me in the universe.
In the room with you.
Oh my goodness! Didn't you say your nose spread a little bit too?
You know, back there in the 80s, we weren't beautiful pregnant women. You wore the sack.
Okay? She was in the moo-moo era.
The moo-moo. And it always fit high in the front and down in the back. So you walk around like this trying to be cute, but it ain't.
And you were in that league of women. If you grew up in Chicago or the Chicago suburbs, women they would wear like their conservative business looks because you worked for like a big time telecommunications organization back then. Mm-hmm. And you would have like on your white gym shoes and your little work outfit, and you get on the train and you go downtown and you get on the bus.
And in Chicago, some are nice and some are not. Some of them look at you like, oh, she's pregnant. Someone look at you like, oh, you shouldn't have got pregnant. I'm give you my seat. I'm like,
so you just be on the bus or the train.
Yeah. And if there
wobbling.
was no seat, you held on and you and the baby.
Rocking. You know, that's the same today. I've been on the train and some people are just like, that's your problem.
I know.
I've been waiting for this seat.
You should have got on here before me if you wanted to sit down. But that was Chicago. And then you had to walk to your office in
the heat or in the snow. I guess it was the heat for you because Noah was born in July.
Because what happened is I was at work and I just felt bad. I was hot. And they put me in the computer room so I can cool off.
So you're just sitting there in your...
Just sit there.
Did you wear your moo-moos to work or was that just an at-home thing?
No. No matter what you bought and you thought it looked cute, you put it on and it turned into an instant moo-moo.
So how do you compare that with like the pregnancy fashion that you see today?
These young ladies, they're just so cute. And they have on the tight little shirt and the big stomach showing and the cute little pants. And the first time I saw it, I was like, now that's just wrong.
Why?
I could have set that thing off. You know what I mean?
Oh, you were just a little jealous.
Yeah, I was like, there I was with a moo-moo. And for some reason, my nose went from here to here. And I'm like, but I tried, though. I still did my little Afro thing, and I did my little makeup thing, and I went out there. I was like,
just melting away.
This train coming. I used to run up those stairs, catch the train. Now I'm like,
see, now everyone's getting a little taste of what I got, and why I'm not like, oh, rainbows and sunshine when it comes to. So let's. Tell me one more awesome thing about being pregnant.
One more?
Yeah, because we talked about the feeling of being able to feel the little baby wiggle and how awesome that is. What's another thing?
And then the husband used to just jump at everything.
Oh, so you're saying that's the moment to kind of get a little extra. Get a little extra.
I mean, y'all get look a little sad or tired or, I should
feel a little faint.
Yeah, I sure. And you,
what's her name? Scarlett from Gone with the Wind.
It's too hot in here. But what do you want to eat? I haven't decided yet, but I'll let McDonald's.
Always. So I have a question for you. A fun question. Have you ever heard of a push gift?
A what?
A push gift. It's what the husband or the spouse or partner gives to the woman who's having, the baby, the mother, as a gift for saying, thank you for pushing the baby out. This is a gift to you.
No.
A push gift.
No.
It might be like a cute pair of earrings or like a keepsake piece of jewelry or something like that. How do you feel about that?
I feel good about that. Now I think that McDonald's Big Mac was my push gift. Yeah. Okay.
That's a good strategy.
A push gift.
It's quite common these days.
I bet it is.
I already told Justin when I get pregnant one day, I already know what I want my push gift to be.
What?
It's going to be a piece of jewelry.
Oh.
To add to my wedding, like a ring to add to my wedding.
Thinking about nothing, no push gift, put some jewelry.
Well, that's the difference between the 80s and where we are now.
Because I think the push gift was when I pushed. So, I mean,
that was the gift.
Push gift. I pushed and the gift.
The baby's the gift.
Yeah.
No, it's the gift to you. He is the gift. But you did all the work, so you deserve a gift.
So see, and that route's laying around, so I can go back and connect.
You can't collect now.
Collect on it. Okay. All right. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about a baby moon? Have you ever heard of a baby moon?
A baby moon. What is going on? A baby moon?
Yeah.
I see the moon in the sky. Is that right?
No, think honeymoon, but baby moon.
Okay.
So it's a trip that you take with your spouse or partner before the baby is born. So you get like a little trip in before the baby comes and your whole life is changed.
I know my life changed when he gave me that trip from the house to McDonald's and back. Oh, yeah. I remember that. I can relate to you young folks. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Dad, go ahead.
What do you think about that? I think it sounds cool.
After they had a baby?
No, it's before the baby comes. So it's like you do it. Was it like 7 or 8? No, well, you can't really travel too much at a certain point. So maybe like 6 months.
Also, like how comfortable you are.
Yeah.
Because everybody's pregnancy is so different. You know, some people they don't want to leave the couch even at 4 months. You know, sometimes it can be rough.
Yeah.
And then you have these fat ankles, big nose, moo-moo, and the hair just won't act right. And I want to know where?
Anywhere. Some people like will go to like a beach so they can just like lay on the beach like a whale with a little tummy, have some food brought to you.
I didn't want to go nowhere.
You just wanted to be at home?
I had cankles. They were so fat. I didn't know.
Painful?
No, they were just fat like elephant ankles.
Well, you were making this experience sound delightful.
You young people, I mean, you look beautiful when you walk down the street with that cute little top and your hair all fixed up.
It's a different world now.
Yeah, it's a different world, but it ain't different once you get in there and start pushing.
So tell me about labor. When you went into labor, were you at home and you had to rush to the hospital and do that whole thing?
We were at home, but, you can't go to the hospital when your labor pains are, 40 minutes apart.
Why not? As soon as I feel one thing, I'm going to hopefully have an epidural set up at the house and then just have somebody cart me on over to the hospital where ideally labor only lasts 5 minutes and then the baby comes.
Oh, baby, you have such an imagination. I like that in you. Did I give you that? Did I give you that?
No, you forced me into that with all these terrible stories. I had to just make something up in my head to counter it all.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But no, how long were you in labor at home for a long time?
I guess, that's been a while. But I guess it started and it was like gas. And I'm like, gas.
Like cramping in the stomach.
And cramping. I'm like, yeah. And then it started getting like, I think it's time to go. And we went.
How long were you in labor at the hospital? You remember? You didn't have one. I know people who have been in labor for days.
Oh no,
stuff.
We didn't play that now. Come on. But it was hours.
Hours?
Yeah. And then you knew when it was time. They knew.
Well, you got an epidural, right?
No.
No?
Oh.
No.
For either one? You didn't get one for...
Because I'm a woman. I was an old-fashioned woman.
I thought you got an epidural.
No. If they did give me... I didn't know it because it hurt. Oh.
So you never got the needle in the back?
Oh, no.
Mommy, I thought that, so you had natural childbirth.
Yeah, so you should feel bad about all the things you just said about me.
I don't.
Oh.
I commend you.
I'm going to commend you too.
Well, you've never suggested to me that I have natural childbirth or anything like
I'm
that.
suggesting it now.
I'm rejecting your suggestion.
You're going to take drugs when you give birth to my grandbaby. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, as many as I can handle.
I can't blame you, baby. Okay, I forgive you.
So was it just not an option, or you just were like, I'll just do it?
I was out of my mind. They could have asked me.
See, this is why I think I need the epidural. I don't want to be out of my mind in pain.
You gotta feel it. Okay, come on.
So would you say the labor pains are worse than the actual like pushing the baby out pains?
The labor pains are really bad. And then you have these people saying, okay, take a deep breath. I can't breathe. What you mean take a deep breath?
Because it's like you're paying like the diaphragm, you can't breathe in. There's a human forcing its way out.
Watermelon. And I'm like, and
you said no.
I'm going to be there saying, you're all right. And the only reason I didn't punch upward is because my hands were kind of strapped.
So I thought you were trying to punch up at Daddy.
Oh, yeah, shut up.
I thought you said he wasn't in the room. Was he in the room?
Yeah.
For both of them?
Yeah. I was in the room with you. Can I tell it? Can I tell it what he said after you were born?
Yes.
Okay. We were in the room. It was such a beautiful experience. And she got out and everything. And they, Mr. Baby, you have a baby girl. And he looked at her and he said, yeah, but what about her head? Her head was shaped like a cone. We didn't expect the baby's head to be shaped like a cone. And so then they gave it to me, and I'm like, oh, what's up with her head? I forgot about all the pain when I saw your head. I'm like, but her head, don't pretend you don't see her head. I see her head. And they took her away, and the only thing my imagination said that they put her on this thing, and they put a cap on it and just screwed her head down until it would be round. So
I have a man-made
they had to do something.
Shaped head. This isn't a natural head shape. Yeah, it was constructed.
We weren't taking you home like that. I thought about a hat.
Yeah.
I thought about a hat like a cone. And I'm laying there like, but.
So once you saw my head, everything that happened.
It just flew out the window. I'm like, what did y'all do to the child's head?
Well, you said Noah had really big shoulders too, and he
came. Boom! I'm like, hey, wait! Boom! Keep pushing. Trying to get both shoulders down at the same time. Boom! I'm like, no.
That's what caused you to tear. Did they cut or did you just rip?
Yeah, I just ripped.
Mm-hmm. I know that for a while they just let you rip naturally, and then they started cutting. This is what my OBGYN told me. But then I believe they stopped cutting because they want you to tear naturally if you're going to tear, because it's easier to heal. This is what my doctor told me.
Yeah, bless her heart.
And
she natural about tearing.
Well, then it's like a natural rip, I guess, versus like the scissors. Yeah. So,
but see,
I mean, it's awful either way, I guess.
Yeah, you guys know a lot.
Yeah, see, I feel like our generation and just like younger generations, well, there's so much information available now. Like we have the internet and all that stuff. Back then, they just threw you on the stirrups and said, here we go.
Here we go. Push. No, you push.
I have this like old school like vision of like the doctor's got like a cigarette hanging out of his mouth and he's like, push.
Well, come on, one more. You can do it. No, I
and there's just like this big room with 8 pregnant ladies, and you're all giving birth at the same time. There's just like cigarette smoke in the air.
I didn't give that to you.
How they really used to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I did not give that. I didn't cause that. Okay, I didn't cause that. But all I know. Whew,
so what was healing like after having a baby? Like your body?
It took some time.
Like months?
Yeah, maybe. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember one day I felt better.
You just were like, okay, now things are better.
Oh, okay.
One of my biggest fears is, I know I've talked about it before, but just how you go to the bathroom after you've been like ripped to shreds down there.
You don't have a choice.
I know today they have all these products that you probably didn't have. Like, you know how they have those bath bombs that you can, they have them for after pregnancy where you can, they just like help you heal faster.
No, we have a soap.
Just like a
just get it,
bar soap,
just
white
get
soap.
in there, do it, get it out, get in there, do it, get out. And see, I'm talking to you about this, and then my mother, they had midwives.
Yeah, they didn't even go to hospitals.
No, they had midwives.
You know, some people
still do that. Yeah,
still do that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but with mama, 7 kids.
Mm-hmm. And she didn't have the time to just say, "Oh, I don't feel good. I need to lay around."
No. Not only that, after I gave birth to you, she called me. She said, "How was it?" And I was telling her, and she was cracking up. She was cracking up. I'm like, "Why is this funny? Do you know what I just been through?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, you do." So maybe mine wasn't so bad.
Yeah, because she did it at home and everything.
Yeah, because she had my sister, then she had me. And
yeah, she did that too. You and Auntie Lily kind of back to back?
Yeah, we're a year apart. I'm like, Dad, was y'all that bored?
Well, see, you just revealed something that's actually really beautiful and encouraging. And that's just like, you know, Grandma did it, you did it. And it's just something that women have always done. Yeah. And Grandma was probably over 35 when she had a couple of y'all too. Yeah, and she did it at home.
That was number 5 and number 6.
And there's 7.
And then there's one more.
Yeah. So there is a long history of women who have been over the age of 35, who in various ways have had very happy, healthy pregnancies and childbirth. Yeah. It's just in us to do it.
But that's what we were designed to do. We were designed to carry our babies in our wombs, and while the baby is there, you make this connection. I can't really explain it, but you know, when they get bigger in your womb, like with Noah, he would not let me lay on my back. If I laid on my back, he'd get on this side. And then if I turned on this side, he'd get in this side. So he just totally took over my sleeping. It was like, this is.
And we all know how much I value sleep.
He took
sleep
over
is my baby.
Well, be
I'm just gonna tell it to you like this.
Well, I think that's just a beautiful thing to see how generations, there have been geriatric pregnancies in my family. And I think that's probably common to most of our listeners, which is why we're trying to build this community so women feel confident and comfortable and not afraid that they're doing something wrong by waiting to have, their babies.
Oh, no. It's best to have when you're ready.
Yes.
And not be rushed. Okay, you're this age. You're that age, And, with husbands and wives, you need that time to have, you got to learn, you got to know each other. And that's why I really admire you and Justin, because you guys have traveled all over, and now it's just time.
Yeah, the time has come for us.
Yeah.
So do you have that's really good advice, but do you have any more specific advice for our listeners who are going to be geriatric mamas?
Enjoy. This is a awesome time. You have this little bitty seed, and all of a sudden it grows and and you can feel move, and then sometimes you can feel the elbow do this, and you just go through it with the baby, and there's that connection. It's such a beautiful connection. So just enjoy it. Yeah, you might have times where you're tired, or some people have morning sickness, but those are stages that'll get you to the grand prize, which is the baby. And you look back and say, it was worth it. It was worth it. Especially when you hold that baby in your arms, and they just, their little eyes are trying to focus, and they're looking, and they know it's mommy. Mm-hmm. They instinctively know that's mommy. Mm-hmm. And you always have that connection because baby was inside of you. And now baby is out and in your arms. So it makes you forget about the wide nose, the body rash, the ripping, the pushing. I mean, you don't totally forget because you're going to have to pass this on to your children. But it just means very little when you're holding this human. The idea that a human being could live inside of me. And then when it's time comes out and it's kicking and screaming. But yeah, that's what I would just relax and enjoy the journey. Because at the end of the journey, you're going to have a baby. Mm-hmm. A little bitty baby that's going to grow so fast. And before you know it, you'll be on something like this saying, you want me? You know how I am. So that's what I would, just enjoy the journey. Well, thank you. I think that's a great place to wrap our interview up. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to all of our listeners for tuning in today. We'll see you next time. Oh my God. So how did you love that interview with my mom?
First of all, your mom is the best, just the absolute best. It was such a joy to be able to watch the two of you interact together and especially watching it back now after so much time has passed and now realizing that you were hiding this little beautiful secret.
I know. It's so crazy because she's so excited. She just has like this wealth of knowledge, but she's just like this ball of energy too. So I'm like, how do I take all of this in, maintain my anxiety and her excitement? But no, it's great. I love to hear her stories about what pregnancy was like for her. And I didn't even know my mom had natural childbirth. I just assumed that all women get the epidural. Yeah. And I was wrong. Especially, I guess, back in the day, it wasn't maybe as common as it is now. Yeah. She popped out too, all natural. And I'm like, you go, girl.
She's a very, very impressive woman. And I also thought it was interesting just the difference of how pregnancy was treated back then, kind of given to now.
Absolutely. I mean, in a lot of ways, when you're dealing with your career, not so much, unfortunately, right? But just, I love how she talks about, like, I know she teases me about fashion and how I can remain so fashionable. And she was like in her moo-moos, hiking it in Chicago to get to work. And it's so great. And I love how she talks about my dad bringing her McDonald's. And,
I know. It's so sweet.
Yeah. And I know I send Justin out on runs all the time. And he's just like, you want the breakfast sandwich again? Okay, I'll go get it.
and you know what? And that's his job right now. So
he does it with a big smile on his face. But this was just one of those interviews that really just touched my heart and just a really great bonding experience. So I'm glad we were able to share that with everyone in our podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. I know you enjoyed this one. I know you enjoyed.
I think it would be impossible for our listeners not to enjoy this one.
Yeah. We're going to have to bring her back. Once the baby is here, I know she's going to have way more stories to tell. So we'll make sure my mom, Letty D. Bailey, comes back to the Geriatric Momma podcast. So you all make sure you come back to the Geriatric Momma podcast. You can find us on YouTube or anywhere you stream your favorite podcasts. We are there. So give us a listen, share with your friends, and you know what? We'll see you next time. But before that, make sure you take care of yourself, mind, body, and spirit. It's essential. It's essential.
Yes.
So we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.